everybody. How you doing on this lovely podcast day? Do you care about your self-care? Somebody said no. Oh, I thought somebody said no. I was about to say, all right, well, since you don't care, we about to make this episode about you. We changing the whole subject. But it is gonna be the same thing. We're gonna have a conversation about how you need to change that no. Because this episode is about change. Can everybody say that? Change. Change is good. Change is necessary. You know, it's an old saying. Things are subject to change. Nothing is ever meant to be the same. And when I was young and I heard that phrase, I was like, "What are they talking about? You mean I'm gonna change?" And I was young. I was like, I don't want to change. I want to be me. I want to be the same person. Not understanding that as we grow, things that we at that time considered normal or would do or had the knack or the habits of or just wanted to do or was doing, we're no longer doing. Or we weren't doing it and we're doing it now. You know, the quarters flip. You're no longer on the head. Now you want to tell, or you're no longer to tell. You're not ahead. You know, you once was a shipmate. Now you the captain. You once was, I don't know what's better than just the chef, but okay, you was the waiter. Now you the chef. It's never the same. You could have been the chef, and now you the waiter. CEO, now you the employee. But life changes. It's meant to change. So let me give you guys this the words of inspiration for today by C.S. Lewis. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. Never. And we're gonna also just jump right into it as I give you a breakdown on our first question and upon this topic of change, because we can talk about it for the perspective of women as well. It may be an episode speaking in the sense of men, but women can speak on this as well, and I mean that because it speaks on both sides. Because even for a woman in her 40s or her 50s or later in her age, she might feel like I'm done. I'm at my end. No, your life is not over as long as you got air in your lungs. You got opportunity to make anything happen. Anything happen. Anything that's great under the sun. I don't know about everything else. Worldly, but spiritually, anything great can happen and change in your life if you seek to make it happen. So seek to make change your priority because it's a part of your self-care. So with our first question, what does starting over really mean for you who thought life was already set? What does starting over really mean for you? You who thought life was already set. Like discuss the fear, shame, stigma. Just like for instance, me. I went to I went in and out of the shelter 3 times in my life. The first time was to prove to my mother and my father that I didn't need them. The second time was because I actually needed to be there. And the third time was because I didn't know where else to go. And I still needed to be there. The options was there. I just didn't want to take the other options. I just took that as the best option, just to restart myself. And even though I didn't want to be there, I just said to myself, I'd rather be there than to be elsewhere and dealing with other people madness. Because at least if I'm in the shelter, the only person I deal with is me.
So what does starting over look for you?
Yes.
What does it look like for you?
Yes, what does it look like to me?
Yeah, starting over.
Well, I saw what you did. But what did it look like to me? At first, I didn't see, huh?
For me, after I retired, right? I retired at 65, right? So I'll say I'm done with work. I'm done with people nonsense and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I came here to Tier 1. I wasn't looking for no work or no job to do for nobody because I didn't want to be, in that area again. So like you say, it's always good to learn different things. No matter where you go, you can learn something more than what you already know.
Yes.
When I came here, like I said, I wasn't looking for anything. I came a peer recovery specialist and all that, and I never did even thought that I could even go that far.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I had people around me that was, encouraging, letting me know that you can do it, no matter how old you is. You retired, yes, but there's always still something that you can do to even now make yourself more sharper, and do better things, and then you can set more goals as well. You know what I'm saying? And you can also help other people, along their path as
And
they
people help you.
Huh? Yeah, that's what I say. People help me. Yep, people helped me when I came in the door. So that means I can help other people, even though I was helping people all my life, working for Greystone and North Jersey. I was helping people all my life. So, so it's time for me to give back some more and get some more from other people. And that's what I did when I started working here. So it's always, that's how it looks to me. It's look like you're never too old to learn and take in more knowledge and to help in different ways that you might have didn't help before on my path of working.
There was a question out on the floor. Bob, you asked what was that question again?
What did starting over look like for you?
Like for you.
Starting over looked like for me. Being that, like I said, I've started over. One, it's not easy, but it's doable. It's manageable. A little hectic, but I can rationalize it. I can make sense out of it, even when I want to pull my hair out. I know that if I stop, I'm gonna be at the starting process all over again of getting through that change, getting through that holding me back from the greatness that I have yet to see. Because starting over is starting from a point where I can't really see what I look like, but I know what I want to look like. I know what I want out of this. I know when I step into this, that how I step in is not how I'm stepping out. I'm stepping in strong, but I'm stepping out stronger. There's growth in that change that I can't see. There's hope in that change that I cannot see. There's so much that I can't fathom, but I'm gonna make myself understand it all. Because I can't turn back. That's what that change is for me. It's something that I can't turn back from.
So starting over for me was a little different from easy.
Yeah.
I couldn't see the light at the tunnel. There was a lot of darkness. And just starting over, because there were several starts overs in my life. I started over from divorces. I started over from drug addictions. I started over from just life itself, new jobs, and each one had a different start to it, and it caused me to persevere, even though I didn't even know how the results was going to look like, so it was just about pushing forward.
Right.
And one of the things is that I've learned is that where did my hope come from? And especially when you're almost in a hopeless state, where as they say, you get to a point of hopelessness where you don't even have the ability to pray for yourself.
Right.
So thank God that there were praying people in my life that prayed for me when I couldn't pray for myself. You know, so each one of the startovers was different for me.
Yeah.
Each one requires something, some other kind of help. You know, I think one of the things too, even in starting over, it's hard to be open-minded.
Yes.
So, you know, even through that process, you know, people told me, if you don't believe you can do it, just believe in me. So I had to do something tangible, you know, something that I could touch and feel. So, you know, at this time, you know, my spirituality wasn't intact. So the God that I understood, I couldn't see and feel him. I needed a human being to see and feel to guide me through the darkness. And it happened. You know, one of the things that it just went off, Jasper.
It's not
It has been stopped. It stopped.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, but thank God that he put people in my life that was a beacon of light in my life, and they showed me out of the darkness, and that's it.
You know,
Absolutely.
Thank you. You are doing well, very well now with yourself.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
What about me?
I wouldn't like. Oh, go ahead, Kanye. I'll wait.
Okay, I was just talking about change and stuff, and I can remember, I thank God for the gift of recovery, because for so many years I used to sedate pain, sedate feelings of feeling less than, not good enough. Why was I abandoned? You know, what was wrong with me and all of that. And I used drugs to sedate those feelings. And it took, I prayed a lot because, you know, my life was going downhill. And I prayed and I was like, God, please, I just want this pain to go away. Not knowing he was going to use one of my children to come knock on that door, and that was so humiliating. But guess what? I thank God for that. My daughter knocked on that door looking for her mother, and I'm like asking my uncle, why you bring her here? You know what I'm saying? And she crying like, Mommy, I want my mother back. It was like so humiliating, but I'm so forever grateful because that my life changed. From that day I ended up went to a program, you know, in a detox, then to a program, and by God's grace and mercy I'll be celebrating 19 years next month. Wow. That come on, God is good, and I'm so forever grateful for him answering that prayer and using my daughter. But look, in recovery I also learned too, if nothing changes, nothing changes. I needed to do the work. God used my baby, helped me to do what I need to do. Use those counselors, the people, men and women in recovery that shared their stories and let me know I was not alone. But guess what? I needed to do the work. You know what I'm saying? I thank God for saving me, but again, I needed to do the work and know that God was going to be with me to help me to get through it. So again, I'm like so forever grateful for that change, because it definitely made a difference in my life. For real. Because I ain't have to be sitting here today, but God. Come on now.
But God. Okay. Take Michelle and then I'll go.
Oh, that change I like, and like you said, forever grateful, Tony. I don't know if anybody ever been ever grateful to have a seizure. I'm happy I had a seizure.
Tell it.
Because if I didn't have that seizure, I might still be out here.
Ooh, Jesus.
That seizure is why I'm sitting here today. Wow. 2019. That's why I'm sitting here today and still moving forward. I had to divorce that.
Amen.
Come on.
I divorced that life, that fentanyl, dope, whatever, the pills. The papers are gone. I had to leave it and let it go. I love the feeling. I love dope.
Love it.
I had to let it go.
Ooh, yes.
And I'm grateful that I had that seizure. And who knows? I was scared to stop, but I was praying every day. God, please set me up.
Yes, please. Yes.
Every day when I'm doing it, I don't want that bad batch. God, please don't let me have that. I gotta get the sickness off of me. You know, that's the sick thinking. You know, but you're praying, but you got it. You're doing it. Don't want to do it though. And I'm grateful to have had that. I never had to see it. Never. That was my first. But to be unresponsible for 2 days and come up out of that.
Oh God.
But what? And didn't have a deja vu.
Oh God.
Seen these people before. No, all that. It just kept coming like what's going on? It scared me. But I'm alright with it today. I'm grateful. I'm very happy and I'm not miserable. I don't want to be like that. And that change is lovely.
Yes.
The change today is lovely.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
I wanted to touch back on something that Bobby has said, and because it tied well with Connie and Michelle said as well. I just wanted to get back to it because of how he said it and how it hit me though. When he said at one point he had to find something physical just to believe in himself. For somebody, they say if you don't believe in you, believe in me. And for me that was hard to do. It was so hard to just really, not that I didn't believe in others. It was just like, for me to put what I got to put in myself for you, and I ain't got it for me. If I ain't got it for me, why would I want to give it to you? That's just how I saw it. So I just said, talk to somebody else. I got to figure this out myself. But everyone's method of doing it is not wrong. And that's what I want to get at. You're not wrong if you have to clean to someone else to find it in yourself, because you may need that. Because you may find it in them. And then that moment that you found it in them, you might still not realize that you need it in yourself until they left. Because that's what happened to me. It took for somebody to leave that I put so much into, so much, all of that, like I said, that I didn't have in myself for me to not trust. It hurt. That changed me. It changed me. And I'm only saying it for those that are going through that. It's okay. Because there's somebody that's coming to uplift that burden of not trusting anyone that you're going to trust. And you're going to start to trust others after that person. And then more and more and more after that, as you start to realize you never had to let go of what you had just because of what somebody else did. And that's something that I had to learn with change. And when Bobby said that, it hit me even harder. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. And for the just going forward with change. In that sense, I'm gonna just bring up the topic, the scenario leading towards the second question. When that happened, it shifted my mindset of how the actual profession in which I'm actually good at, because everybody know I love music. It shifted my perceptive of music. It shifted everything I trusted about it. So everything went from being love to just being hate. I was just angry. I was frustrated. And that anger and that frustration fueled me to write great music, create good sounds, and off of anything I can tap or cling on as a little kid growing up into my adulthood, to where even when I still didn't trust, because of that fracture that I went through in my life that started that music. And now that I'm in that area and I'm working on my music, I realized my music was always missing that one thing that I was neglecting myself of, and that was love. Even though I loved my music and people who heard it is like, yo, man, that should be on the radio. That should be on the radio. There was no love. So did I love what I did, or I hated the person that I wanted to feel love from because he did music, and out of hatred, I wanted to be better than him. It fueled me to be great, but great from a wrong vision, in which God did not want me, or should I say my God that I understand didn't want for me. But my hatred distorted the vision that he had. So here I am now, piecing together all of that with trust, hope, faith, tenacity, everything great under the sun. It's shifting because of that change, because of what I've realized that I'm missing. And with the second question for everyone else to give it their disclaimer on is, how do you find a new identity when your old one no longer fits, but it's all you've known? Because it was all I've known. All I knew was frustration and hatred in my music, and I didn't know that I was putting it there. So for 5 years, I didn't write nothing. I didn't create nothing until I found that love. And I found that love after being in that depression that I was in for 3 years, because it was around that same five-year period of me not creating anything. And when I came out of that depression and I found my love again, my music was different, and all my music is now about incorporated with God. Though it took another 6 years for me to do grateful raps and be where I am today. But I'll read the question again. How do you find a new identity when your old one no longer fits, but it's all you've known?
What was that last part? It already fits, but it's no longer what?
I mean, it no longer fits, but it's all you've known.
Oh, yeah. I'm a perfect candidate to answer this question because, and I spoke on it in a meeting earlier. Vigilance is important to which way my change is gonna be, you know. And I can honestly say, like, my early childhood, all I really knew is what my parents was teaching me. And that was to work, you know. That's all I knew, work. Now, no play, you know. And it became literally, whatever the snowball start at the top of the hill, by the time it get to the bottom of the hill, it's huge. It's the same thing, but it's in its hugest sense, you know. But one thing with change is gonna happen regardless. Change is never ending. You know, it's just, sometimes I can veer my change, but most times my change is from a high power. You know, I can only change but a certain percentage. I'm not even sure what that percentage is. But you know, people can only be what's being poured in.
Yes.
You know, or what they happen to connect somewhere, and you know, let it pour in from there. But if I have zero cognitivism on needing to change certain things, dealing with that identity, like, I didn't even know what identity was for my portion of the story. You know, life got a way of just being this much, but this much of a difference between different souls. If you can understand what I'm saying. With just a little bit of this would be a whole bunch of that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or vice versa even.
It could be a whole
all of that is involved in change. You know, the variations are unlimited with change. You know, anything can happen at any given moment. But with me, you know, I'm trying to get past the identity that came down the hill with me, of me being hooked on drugs. Like, again, I got hooked on drugs at a real early age, and this not only distorted me, but everything around me. So You know, I need that new change. I need to.
So how is that forming your new identity?
Well, I can identify with what took place.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I was that crackhead at 17 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When that's like the most important time of your life, you becoming an adult. You know what I'm saying? All the playing games is over, but I'm caught up in this flat spin of being an addict, being a drug addict, you know? So that kind of wiped everything distorted.
Okay.
It made everything be distorted.
So how about now?
You know, but now coming in these rooms, I'm dealing with people on a daily basis. I'm no longer in that shell of a life that I was in, just me and drugs. It was just me and drugs, literally. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm connecting with people. I'm becoming, like even as back in the day, I didn't go to summer camp. This is my summer camp. This is like my first time being around a bunch of people on a daily basis. You know what I mean?
I ain't went to no summer camp.
Not to the point where
Hey, you almost made me a little mad. Like, look, I ain't gonna hear all of that now. I only went to one camp.
look,
One camp.
I just wanted to end it with like this. Y'all giving me a new identity being around y'all on a daily basis.
Thank
I want to end it
you,
with
because
that.
you also help us. And the thing I would say about identities when you're forming your identity, like the person that I used to be, everyone gets to know a little bit of with the identity that I define now, because some of what I did wrong then I had to correct and perfect. Yeah, like how was it said? This Kanye West said, a 2-year-old could be in a restaurant and everybody's in the restaurant and they see that 2-year-old jump on top of the table, and then all the adults in the restaurant are gonna say, "Hey, you're not supposed to be on that table." But to a 2-year-old, you think he care about what that table is? In his mind, he probably like, "I'm a cowboy." Bow, 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 bow. Now it's the order of things. We're conformed to do certain things of a certain way. Sometimes it's from the perspective of other people, but then at the same time, it's also from the perspective of letting us grow and identify ourselves. Because that table is a table, but for that moment, that probably was the shooting range. Like pow, 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 pow. So now that we're growing, we're no longer those kids. We didn't get to grow within our inner child, forming naturally into our inner youth. Even though we got into our youth and we was feeling ourselves a little bit like you said, I was doing what I was doing because I was trying to be grown from the perception that I was being bred in. From the time I was a little boy jumping on the table and people saying, "Hey, don't do that." From the time I went into school and people saying, "Hey, don't do that," or "Hey, go do that." And from the time I went and did that, and then that was done, and there was something else to do, instead of me making the choice, it was somebody saying, "Hey, go do that," or "Hey, go do that," or turn on the TV, "Hey, go do that." You go outside, "Hey, go do that." You chilling with your friends, "Hey, go do that." It's never you making your own decisions at times. It's never you accepting what you want to accept. It's usually somebody giving you something. Only until we get to that point where we're broken, beaten, dilapidated, where we're finally able to say, "I'm done. I'm done with everybody telling me what to do. I gotta get up and go and do me." And that's your self-care. When you realize the trajectory that you was bred on and placed from a child to an adult, you've realized you've picked up the chain that had been needed to be broken a long time ago. You finally picked up that weight, or you're about to loosen your grip of that weight that you've been holding on to from the perception of what other people say or what other people think, or all the time, instead of just focusing on numero uno. Yes, Bobby. The second question? All right. How do you find a new identity when your old one no longer fits, but it's all you've known?
And I think the answer to that question for me is the problem was I gave myself that identity. What I've learned in this process is now through my intimacy with the Creator comes my identity.
Yeah.
It's no longer coming from me. So as we grow through things, we don't even know what we need sometimes. As we growing through things, everything else is the problem except me. I don't even know I need a new identity. All I know is y'all keep messing with me and y'all not playing fair.
Yeah, I like how you said that.
And the thing of it is like, I'm praying to God to change y'all. Because I'm good. I'm okay. It's just that you guys need to get on board with the things I need. I need things. And what happens is, they call it the triangle of self-acceptance. And it deals with the present, the future, and the here and now, right? So, the triangle of self-acceptance is one is, I'm angry as hell about the past. I'm scared as hell about the future. And, it's talking about living in the here and now, and I'm confused because I don't know what to do to live in the here and now. So I had to get those three corners together to even look at the simple fact that I needed help. So yes, I did need a new identity. I didn't need to stop giving myself, because you know what? I made myself bigger than what I always was. I always tried to be this big shot that I never was. You know what I'm saying? And my identity, I didn't even know who I was. I didn't even know who I was. So how you guys was going to know who I was? It took people to pour into me. Yes, it took some monitors, and it took some coaches. And monitors pour into you, coaches pull out. And it took those kind of people to be in my life for me to even remove myself so I can hear something from God to tell me who I was. And that's where my identity started coming from. Is when I stopped depending on Bobby and start listening to that spiritual voice. I say this in closing. They says like we have spiritual eyes and ears in this process. Until we start learning how to listen and see through those spiritual gifts that God gave us, then I'm living, life on my own and without any kind of supervision. And listen, I need to be supervised. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what?
Say it.
And I do. I need people in my life because it is y'all who see me. I can't see me coming. It's y'all that see me coming and tell me, yo, man, you a little bit off today. You're not yourself. So I'm grateful for God just allowing me to be in a place where people can take my temperature and tell me that, you know what, you're a little bit off today. And that's it.
All right, Bob. Right.
And I can agree with what you said. I can agree on that because even for me, I had everybody check my temperature when we was upstairs in the staff. It was like, Dr. Moody was like, easy, you got to be too hot because your lips dry, but like sometimes even something as small as that can just show that you off. There's a change, the body odor. We talked about it upstairs. You might sometimes if you notice it yourself, and I'm speaking for me, like. I ain't gonna jump. I know y'all saw me walking around with slippers, past few days. I ain't scared to say it. Like, look, I was in the gym one day. I was in the gym. The men's room already stink when you walk in it, but you know it's bad when you take your shoe off and the new smell overpowers the smell.
Oh my Lord, that's it.
I don't even remember where I was. I was talking about my feet. Do you care about your self-care? Yeah. And we're keeping all of that edited. Wow.